If you study soldiers in the trenches of World War I long enough, one thing becomes obvious. The men who survived weren't always the strongest or the fastest or the most well-equipped. Many survived because they were relentless improvisers. They were surrounded by mud, artillery, shortage after shortage, and supply lines that broke down so often that even simple items became luxuries. When you talk to old historians who've spent decades with trench journals and field diaries, they'll tell you the same thing. World War I wasn't just fought with rifles and shovels, it was fought with whatever a man could shape into a tool at the exact moment he needed it. That is what made those soldiers dangerous, adaptable, and incredibly resourceful. And that's why today's video matters. If modern preppers, survivalists, homesteaders, or anyone serious about resilience wants to study true improvisation, the trenches are the best classroom you'll ever find. These men didn't have Amazon. They didn't have garages full of equipment. They had rations, a kit bag, broken gear, battlefield scrap, and pressure that almost never let up. What they learned can help you turn scarcity into strength. So let's break down 10 improvised tool lessons to learn from World War I soldiers who had nothing, and see how those same principles still apply today. The first lesson is that any durable scrap can be reshaped into a functional tool when pressure forces you to rethink its purpose. World War I soldiers regularly repurposed shrapnel, broken bayonets, ration tins, and fence wire. A bent tent peg became a hook for lifting hot mess tins. A snapped entrenching shovel was transformed into a short-handled digging blade. The principle here isn't about the specific objects, it's about training your brain to see structure instead of intended use. In modern prepping, this means keeping a small bin of metal scraps, broken tool parts, and leftover hardware instead of throwing them out. If a handle breaks, reshape it. If a blade snaps, regrind it. The soldiers proved usefulness doesn't die just because an item is damaged. The second lesson is that cordage improvisation can make or break your ability to build or repair. In the trenches, soldiers braided everything from uniform threads to communication wire fibres to create emergency binding. They even unwound sandbag stitching for cordage. When you need to lash, tie, carry or secure, improvising rope becomes essential. At home, the modern parallel is keeping worn-out clothing, paracord scraps, and even old electrical cable sheathing. Strip what you need, braid the rest, and you have fast cordage. The soldier's mindset teaches that you don't wait for perfect materials. You extract usefulness from whatever is available. The third lesson is that cutting tools don't need to be pretty to work. They just need an edge. World War I diaries mention soldiers sharpening metal debris on stones to create field knives for camp chores. They weren't beautiful, but they cut. If you ever lose a knife or break a blade, a piece of angle iron, a snapped file, or a metal bracket can become an improvised edge with some elbow grease. The trench lesson is simple. Don't panic when something breaks. Ask what shape it can take next. The fourth lesson is that heat transforms useless metal into workable metal, and soldiers took advantage of that every chance they got. Field stoves, small trench braziers, and even burning ration tins gave enough heat to bend or harden small metal scraps. Today, if you have a basic fire, a propane torch, or even a charcoal bed, you can replicate the same principle. Bend hooks, reshape nails, or modify brackets. Heat makes improvisation far more efficient. The fifth lesson is that containers are life, and you can improvise containers from almost anything. Soldiers used ration tins for water, fuel, shaving kits, medical storage, and even carrying coals from one dugout to another. The modern parallel is keeping metal cans, jars, and durable plastic containers instead of discarding them. A container extends your carrying capacity, protects gear, and organizes chaos. World War I proved that once you have containers, you have options. The sixth lesson is that wood is a universal handle, and soldiers carved it constantly. From trench clubs to tool handles to makeshift mallets, wood was everywhere and endlessly useful. A broken tool without a handle is useless until you carve one. World War I soldiers carved handles from cratewood, fence posts, and even duckboard planks. Today, scrap wood around your home can serve the same purpose. Learn to notch, carve, and fit. This single skill multiplies your tool capabilities instantly. The seventh lesson is that simple leverage beats brute strength when tools are limited. A discarded plank became a pry bar. A length of rebar became a lever. Soldiers understood mechanical advantage instinctively. If you're lifting, prying, or moving heavy loads today, look for beams, pipes, or sturdy sticks before you strain your back. Improvised leverage was one of the trench soldiers' most consistent survival tactics. The eighth lesson is that sharpening stones aren't the only way to sharpen. Anything abrasive will do. Brick fragments, concrete edges, and flat stones all shaped edges during World War I. Modern preppers can do the same using cinder blocks, unglazed ceramic bottoms, or coarse natural stones. A sharp edge is a force multiplier, and soldiers sharpened constantly. The ninth lesson is that multi-use tools aren't a modern idea. World War I soldiers lived by them. A combination trench tool could chop, dig, hammer, and brace. Today, you can recreate this approach by modifying a tool to serve 2 or 3 roles. Add a nail puller slot, carve a hammerable surface, or file a notch into a blade spine. One tool doing 3 jobs saves weight and time, something trench soldiers understood deeply. The 10th lesson is that improvisation becomes instinctive only when practiced regularly. Those soldiers didn't improvise because it was clever. They improvised because necessity forced the skill to become second nature. If you want the same readiness, set small challenges. Repair something without buying a part, build something using only scrap, fix a problem with what's already in your home. Repetition shapes your instincts just like it shaped theirs. If you found these lessons valuable, and you want more deep-dive, historically grounded survival insights, make sure you subscribe, share this video with a fellow history buff, and help grow the Warfield Prepper Chronicles community.